Hi everybody, welcome to my hillside urban garden. Well, in my garden it's time to plant the tomatoes. So here is a whole tray of different tomatoes that I started from seed. They've done pretty well. So I've got some heirlooms in here, some standards, some cherry tomatoes. But today I am going to show you how to plant up one of your wine barrels or even a large container. It's all the same. So it's time for me to clear out the wine barrels. You can see that it's all full of spring flowers, poppies and violas, and sometimes even some lupin in there. So we're going to clear all that out, and I'm going to show you how to plant these large tomatoes in there. So look forward to showing you my method for doing that, and we'll see how good the roots are on these tomatoes when we open them up. So let's get started. So you can see here all the stuff that we have in this barrel that has grown wild in here during the spring. So what we're going to completely clear this out. Just take everything out. I got my little potato sign. I take that out. And all the rest I'm just going to put in my blue bucket, and we're going to go ahead and compost those. I'm going to pull out all the violas, weeds that are in here, all the poppies, and I'm just going to. And the best thing to do is try to pull them out by their roots. Now this one here is around the irrigation, so be careful about that. So you want to make sure that you don't rip up the irrigation, or we're going to have to repair it. My husband does all that. He does a great job taking care of all this. So what I do, as you can see, is I pull out by the roots and I shake. I want to try to retain, of course, as much of the soil as I can. And again, trying to get the roots out. You know, overall, this process takes probably less than 5 minutes to do all of this. And you can see a couple tags from last year. We'll reuse those as well. And I'm about halfway done here. More violas, more California poppies, which I love. Like I said, these things come up, they reseed, and they come up every year. So I get quite a nice show of spring flowers. You can see all the violas, they come with different colors. You've got the white, and then the yellow, and the purple, so it's pretty cool. And also, if I shake them just a little bit, what is that? Well, sometimes I find nice plants in there, like maybe like a lavender or something. So if I find anything like that, then I'll go ahead and replant that somewhere. But the best thing to do when you have either a container or a raised bed and you want to plant vegetables in there, completely clear it. I mean, you got to take everything out, all the weeds, you know, anything old vegetables and things like that are in there. I just completely clear it. Oh, there's another poppy. All right, so you can see here, I'll scratch the surface just a little bit to see if anything else comes up. I see enough down there. Now, a couple of weeks ago, you can see on the top here, I planted some chicken manure, aged chicken manure. You can buy it in a bag. Most of the do-it-yourself stores have them. So, and I've let the rain, we got some rain recently, let the rain kind of go through that. It'll help with the soil. So that's all cleared now, and let's get to planting. Okay, we've got our barrel all cleared of all the flowers, and we have the ground is all ready to go, the irrigation's in place. So what else are we going to need to do this? Okay, what I use is a starter fertilizer. So when I plant any kind of thing that's in a little pot or something, we give it a good boost with a starter fertilizer. We need a trowel and nice little snips. Oops, little snips. Because if we have any damaged leaves or branches, we're going to want to cut those off before or after we plant it. And it'll just help give more strength to the plant. So I'm going to go through here, and I think, oops, I got to decide which one. I think I might be planting this Italian one, the Genovese. So this is the one we're going to plant today in this barrel. I have 3 more barrels to plant just like this, so we'll pick another one for that. But this one's closest to the house, and it's supposed to be a nice big heirloom tomato. So let's get started and get this one in the ground. Okay, so here, let's get started here. So you can see again, we got the bed is all cleared, and sometimes it's best to take the irrigation off, clear the bed, and then put it back on. And so in the barrel this year, I'm just going to plant one tomato. Now, the last couple years I've planted 2 in a barrel, and I don't think they've done as well. I think that maybe just 1 this year, and we'll see if we can get maybe more tomatoes or bigger tomatoes. So just 1 per barrel this year. We'll see how it goes. We'll do a little test. So the idea is that I want to plant it, since we're doing 1, right in the middle. So I have positioned my irrigation, which has the little holes here every 12 inches. So I want to position it first before I plant the tomato to make sure that I'm going to have one of the water distributors close to the tomato. Because of course at the beginning, you kind of have to baby them a little bit. You can always move it back afterwards. But in this kind of configuration, almost like a figure 8, when the roots go out, they'll be watered over here and watered down here, as well as also close to the base of the plant as well. So let's get our hole going. So we're going to say that that's the middle. So if you get your cup or your container and just kind of make a little mark, if you really want to get it exactly center, go ahead and measure and make an X. So that's where we're going to plant. I've got my trowel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dig a hole. Now, if you know about tomatoes, you can dig them lower than where the line is here at the top of the pot, where it goes into the dirt, because they'll just grow more roots. All this fuzzy here can be new roots. So we're going to bury it a little deeper than it is in this particular container. So I've got my hole. So the hole is probably as deep as the trowel. So if I go like that, I can see the deeper the trowel goes right to the top there. So remember, I want to plant it a little deeper. So I think that I'm just going to make it just a bit deeper at the bottom. Okay, got our hole. I have my starter fertilizer. You don't need much of this. I would say maybe a teaspoon. So just a pinch like this. I put it in there. I didn't even use all that whole pinch. We'll put a little on top too when we're done. So I'll put it in there like this. Go around. I've got the Genovese tag. I always keep those because sometimes you forget where you planted. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press lightly around the cup. And then we're going to do the method that I have a video about this too. Is that I'm going to go ahead and put my fingers right up to almost the stem. Hand on the bottom. We're going to flip it over. Now I felt it fall, kind of like when you're trying to get a cake out of the pan. So there we go. So when you take the cup off, you can start to see the roots. So take a check of those and you can see kind of how they're doing. It's looking really good. Put your hand on the top, flip the plant over. Look at that. We didn't lose any dirt. The plant is safe. The dirt didn't come apart because we got pressure on the top and the bottom that keeps it together. So now we're just going to place it down into the hole. See, to be honest, that it really needs to be a little deeper. So I'm going to hold on to this. I'm just going to get it out a little bit more. It's okay to do that. If you make a mistake, get in there and fix it. So I'm going to put it in there, just a little below the line here of the pot, or the barrel, I guess. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to place the dirt back around it, and I'm going to press it. You can see when you do that, it lowers it a little bit, right? Kind of fills in the air gaps down there. You don't have to press really hard, but you don't tap it either. Give it just till you feel that the give has kind of stopped. And now we're going to place the dirt back up. Now check this out. You can see that I placed the dirt at least about an inch up to the set of these first leaves that are here. And that's going to give it a little bit of a stronger root system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around here. I'm just going to move the dirt out. Some of my starter fertilizer. Well, another thing to check too, is it straight? Is it leaning this way or this way? Looks pretty good. Take some of my starter fertilizer, and I'm just gonna kind of dot it around the top. I just work it in just a wee bit. There you go. So now I'm just gonna get my bucket, and then we're gonna give it a little drink. Always do that once you plant. give it some water so it'll help with the shock with the transplanting. But the starter fertilizer, that'll activate it once we get it wet. And the starter fertilizer really does help with the shock of the transplanted plants here. So make sure you do use the starter fertilizer. It really does help get them started. So the last thing we do is I've got this beautiful blue tomato cage. Since this is close to the house, I like to put the fancy ones closer to the house. We're going to put this in, press it all the way down. You can hear it hit the bottom. Make sure it's kind of even there. And these you can adjust later too before it gets too big. Now the tomato's just going to grow all the way up, and as it gets larger, we're just going to make sure that the branches go out to help support the weight of the tomatoes. So here you go. We have a tomato planted in our barrel for the season, and I hope you guys go out there and give it a shot. Remember, it doesn't have to be a barrel. It can be a large container that you have. Just make sure that you've got some holes at the bottom, and make sure it gets regular water. Like I said, I have my irrigation system here. So thanks for watching the video today, and I hope you've learned something. And to remember, always be safe in the garden, always wear your hat and your sunscreen. Thanks everybody. Bye.